Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. The JAMODI podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products. We've already kind of went into culture a little bit, and that's a buzzword that is thrown around a lot today, but everybody has one, and you could also call them standards or pillars. But in your opinion, how does culture drive performance?
Well, it drives performance because it's how we operate every single day. We have expectations and standards of being prepared for practice. So, we only have 3 rules. We're on time, we're prepared, and we're engaged at all times. And so that's our culture. And there's obviously there's a lot of things that we do that have become common behaviors. For example, letting someone finish in the heat of a battle, let them finish talking, giving everyone input and valuing their opinion and their perspective. And so those are the things that we consider our culture, the things that we do every single day, and the expectations we have of how we operate, how we move. And so we don't really define our culture. We just feel like you can really feel our culture. And once you're in it, then you can see the difference in ours and where they were before or where else they've been. And it's something we take a lot of pride in, but we don't talk about a lot. We don't have signs. We have one shirt, and the shirt says serve and compete. We feel like if we're all continually trying to serve our teammates, society as a whole, and we're elite competitors, then that's going to take care of everything else. Because if you're an elite competitor, then you're going to try to get better because you want to win, and winning's important. So we don't have a lot of slogans and mantras and signs and T-shirts and everything else. We just feel like it's something that we model daily, and it becomes who we are as opposed to a slogan.
Man, I love that. There's a legendary coach in West Texas named Jeff Evans, and I recently had a hoops talk with him, and he said, if you keep having to talk about how disciplined your program is, probably not very disciplined. And then he said, if you have to talk about your culture and how great your culture is, probably don't have a good culture. Like, I think that's kind of what you're saying. There is a way for you to show up and know how you show up every day with those standards, but not have to have it just fully defined in a four pillars, 5, a 3-legged stool. All that stuff is fine, but I think you have a way that, I don't know, probably makes it real.
We feel like it is. And it's something, even as a young coach, I felt like I needed these things to define our culture. And, and to be honest, and we came up with these things, and I don't even remember what they are now, 3 or 4 years later. So it shows how, and our culture is 100 times better than it was then. I used to do Monday morning meetings with the leadership council. I used to try all of these things, and we didn't feel like we had near as good a culture as we do now. And part of it is just the people, the quality and character of people in our program, but also the internal leadership in our locker room and just the overall, the personal relationship. Those things are stronger on all fronts. And that's why our culture is better, in my opinion.
When you and I are talking, it's right at the beginning of the summer. And so this is the time I feel like as coaches that I don't care what level you're at, you're looking back at the things that you did well and that you want to continue, but then you're also evaluating what things can we change or how can we stretch our program. I think it'd be a great exercise to look at the culture that you have. Now, let's just say you happen to have 5 words that are on posters, that are on T-shirts. Really evaluate, do those 5 words, do we actually live those out? Because how many times do you have an acronym, but deep down, that's not really who we are? And find out, ask your players, ask your assistant coaches, what phrases do we say? Like, what things do we actually try to show up as every day? I think that'd be a valuable exercise to do this time of year.
100%. I stole the term. We always do a season review, and I heard Coach Spolster say it recently about a season autopsy. And so even when we're doing our season autopsy, we go back to the notes from last summer, our objectives, what we wanted to get, what we really wanted to accomplish from a micro and macro level. And then did we get a high rate of return on this versus this versus this? And there's certain things we're like, man, we really did that well. We got a high rate of return on that. And then there are other things we spent a lot of time on that last summer and it didn't work, or that just wasn't for us. We need to be smarter with what we need to spend our time on. And so, yeah, it's the same thing. And now that you say that, we definitely need to add a category to our culture. What did we do culturally that helped, I guess, create a stronger bond? And then what did we do that could have, hurt the group? And that's one of the things that anytime someone's getting, I guess, I don't want to say out of line, but anytime they're straying or they're feeling it's some type of way, we simply just remind the group that none of us, me included, are going to do anything to subtract from this group. All of us are going to add in some capacity, whether it's through effort, words, energy, some capacity. We're all going to add to this group. And if we do that, we're going to do special things. But if we're constantly having to pull guys back into the group because they're subtracting from the group, whether it's an off-court issue, whether it's an attitude problem, whatever it is, then we're not going to max out as a group. So culturally, that's one of the things we started talking about this year. We'd be in the heat of a battle and somebody would be arguing with their teammate, and we'd simply remind them, hey, we're not going to subtract from this group. Right now, your attitude and the way you're talking to your teammate is subtracting from this group, and let's refocus and get back. And now whatever you want to say, let's talk about it. Let's get it on the table, but we're not going to act the way we're acting right now, where we're rolling our eyes at each other and pulling away. Let's listen to what the guys say and let's process it and decide if it's, what we need to do next.
The girls coach at Lubbock Christian University, their slogan is, you're not that important. I thought, yeah. Man, that's big. He even said it on the recruiting trips. Like when the parents come, just so you guys understand, or ladies understand, at our program, you're not that important. That's impressive. Yeah. I got to ask though, after a 35-4 record, Final Four appearance, and just a legendary season, how hard is it to find those areas that you feel like we can be better, we can improve? Because I think sometimes maybe it's after bad seasons, obviously we got to blow this thing up. We got to figure out ways, but maybe there's a tendency after a successful season, let's just roll this thing into the next one and keep going. How tough has that been for you?
Well, we love to evolve and do different things and build on what we already do to make us more diverse offensively, whether it's figuring out a different way to steal a layup here and there, or find an easy basket. So we're always trying to do that from a basketball standpoint. But our message this coming year is going to be, well, this summer going into the year is what a lot of people would think, that 35-4, have the 18-2 in a really good league. Is okay. We just gotta stay going and keep plugging. And our message is that we played in 12 games, 5 points or less. So basically 2 possessions or less. And we went 11-1. And the year before that, we had a terrible record in 1 possession or 2 possession games. So if you're in 12 1-possession games, then we're probably going to be the numbers. Then I'd say we'll probably be 6-6 or 7-5 or 5-7, because you're playing a close game against a similar match team. And so now we need to clean up a few mistakes each half, so we're not in 1 possession games or 2 possession games. So those then are 4 to 7 possession games. And then if we miss a free throw, it's okay. If we don't get a stop, then we still have a little bit of margin of error. And so that's our goal going forward, that we still have to get significantly better, or the odds say that we'll lose about 5 more games than we lost last year, even if we stay healthy and even if we're just as good, just because the randomness of winning and losing.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.